Very few people reach there at top, especially women, I'm saying. So why? What's
Well, interesting to see because I saw a lot of female software engineers, a lot of female managers, even though there's, of course, that pressure also in India. But I think India is doing something great in that sense that there is the acceptance. Women can be leaders, women can be in technical roles,
right?
Even though they're still tight-knit with their family.
Why still, women see very few names out there. Why? Any observation you would like to share? It's globally, I'm saying, not.
But a lot of women don't have this. They have a lot of the social and familiar pressure to be part of that,
right.
Let's say, social, ideals that have been culturally and given to us, and also religiously. And I'm still very much on my faith, and I keep them on my faith, and I'm aware of my role as a woman. Let's say, and even from women in my social area in Germany, sometimes did not because they wanted to give me the guilt, but hey, your daughter is on daycare from 7 in the morning to 5 p.m. Shouldn't we just be working half day? And I said no, because if I work half day, I'm not going to be able to do everything I have to do. And the good things, I have my husband that's supporting me.
Right.
So one of the reasons I think is that because we women get all that burden. You should be the perfect mom, the perfect wife,
right,
and everything. And that is a lot of energy. It pulls out of the focus of the career and energy that women could push there. So I would move on and still, I would get criticized. Someone says, "Oh, well, you're a crown mother," we say in Germany, Rabenmutter.
Right.
If you're not 24/7 for your child and sacrifice your career for them.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of CED Talks, where we explore stories that inspire, inform, and leave with a spark of curiosity. I'm Cedric George, your host. On today's episode, I would like to introduce a very special guest. It's my absolute honor to introduce Dr. Kathrin Kind, a multi-award-winning executive and true pioneer in AI. She has built successful collaborations with global tech companies and was recognized as one of the most top business movement of 2024. Welcome to CED Talks, Kathrin. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me. It's great to be here. So it's really interesting. I've already listened to some of your podcasts, and it's a great to be one of your guests today.
I have some questions aligned for you. Are you ready?
Yes, let's go.
Yeah. Let's get started. Kathrin, your career, the legacy you have built over the years, spans an impressive range of industries and technology. Could you please walk us through your journey into AI and technology?
Yes, I started back in 1999 at Siemens International Communication Networks. And I started actually, even though I studied computer science, I'm a software engineer through and through. In what, before there was even the term coined of cloud or data science, I was already doing that. Because when you're designing the software and the hardware for a mobile phone, and a lot of people don't know, Siemens Communication Networks had the first intelligent smartphone. So even what would be 7 years before Apple even came with the idea, but they decided never to let it out into the public. So I was already working very much then hybrid mode. So what we would be having then, what would be back then, we were using a different kind of software, similar to Skype. It was called a bit different. In order then to connect with teams, I had a team that was the backend that was in India. I had a middleware where I was in Munich in Germany, and the front end in Florida. We were going through a lot of data. Back then, I had to design the very first master data management, what would be the data governance, how to do quality data sets, how to bring in what would be the algorithms to process thousands and thousands of data points from what would be the internet connections. Back then, we were using ISDN. A lot of maybe from the millennial or Generation C that might be listening to this, that is think of it like a very, if talking an analogy in a car, think of it of a classical 50s car in regards to the speed of the internet, and in comparison to what we have today. But at so more, it was very, very difficult to create what would be the governance and the structure and the strategy, even though there was no, let's say, hyperscalers that have established the cloud. Back then, we just simply call them cloud computers. So Cedric, what we did was develop what would be then the very first cloud administration versus edge computer hybrid architecture. And we were very successful. And in some point in time, they decided to sell us to BenQ. So I decided to change, a career change. So I started BMW in 2004. And I started very much with systems engineering, being the first software systems engineer at BMW. So I helped them transform in system orientation. Back then, the A60 car, which was the 5 Series, which was their main model, had a lot of software quality problems. So how to address that? So I created with what would be IBM Consulting, the system orientation program, in which we bring about the first group standard for embedded software. It ended up being the ISO 262, the chapter 4 software, ISO 262. And from there, bring the structure, the guideline, the process, and the methodologies, and how to be able then to create quality structure software for systems engineering. It is abstract the function. Before, they were thinking very much gearbox, engine management, ACC, sensor, switch. Instead of thinking the function, automatic cruise control. Instead of thinking, creating a drive function is going to be a lot of fun for the drivers. So to learn to abstract. So from this, a lot of, let's say, the mechanisms that we invented was before even, like I said, data science or AI ML was a hit, or even before the spark of the use then of those terms started. But I didn't know back then. I was already that data scientist, a data math scientist. You have petabytes of information coming from sensor data. It would be wheel sensors, the cameras, the lidars, for the structure of ensuring the car can automatically drive. So back then it was just under 60 km/h. Still the driver is responsible. So you have also information from the steering wheel. And all ECUs, they have to connect with each other and synchronize information. Because a car, even back then, was a computer network on wheels with a protection live pod, which is the difference than what would be creating software for this. So it's safety critical. You have to ensure that it's built against, let's say, cyber attacks. You ensure that there are regulatory principles that are built into the entire discussion. So we have to create what would be the guardrails, the framework for that. And so we ended up creating the first standards. And then from there, I represented BMW, the VDA, which is the German Automotive Association, created the first standard for braking systems and steering systems, safety, which the only way, let's say, you can bring about an entire backup system is by the use of AI methods, in this case, machine learning, and what would be the very first use of convolutional neural networks to check if the car functions are working, what we call plausibilization in our systems engineering jargon. So from there, I went on to Mercedes-Benz cars in Sindelfingen at the headquarters, where I was leading the safety team. And we created the very first autonomous driving vehicle in the factory. So imagine, that was an absolutely true. This is 2011, even before there was a Waymo, even before there was a Tesla. And we created also the central computer that was needed for this.
You've seen that, technology evolution.
Correct. So the first true breakthrough and innovation, becoming a disruptor in this. And even though Mercedes-Benz back then didn't make that much marketing, so it was still very traditional, very Swabian, which is a culture of being very humble. Don't talk about and boast what you're doing, which is the total opposite from what the American market or other markets are doing. I wish that they have made a lot more noise about that, because it was really an important milestone back then. And it was used mainly for what would be then accelerating and creating for the process. And we were also using generative AI.
Kathrin, how do you see the role of women in tech evolving? What do you advise for aspiring women engineers? Because people follow you on LinkedIn. You are a LinkedIn top voice. You got many awards to your name. I mean, and the list is endless. So what's your thought process?
I myself, I'm a volunteer in Kalai.
Right.
And Kalai supports a lot of different schools and universities in India from rural areas. And I'm really very much just one of my core, let's say, missions personally to help coach girls, young women, and also inspiring young managers to their careers. So the number one thing is build yourself into the confidence of who you are. The number one thing is build yourself the path that you want to go. Because there's going to be a lot of disruptors. There's going to be a lot of demotivators. There's going to be a lot of no's. There's going to be a lot of doors closed. Then focus on the path from the doors that will open, on creating and connecting. Right now, it's an incredible time to be through pandemic. The way that you can connect with people is now everywhere. Like you and me talking right now. Wouldn't have happened easily 15 years ago. And now we have the chance that they can connect with mentors and coaches worldwide. There's people like me that were so happy to be a coach, to mentor them and show them that believe, number one would be to them, believe in your talent. Because a lot of people are not going to. So it is a hard situation still for a lot of us, and even in Europe, I'm always still a bit shocked when I'm the only woman in a meeting room in the technology world. India is of course a lot better. So
I would like to ask a kind of follow-up question. Kathrin, you are so successful in the top. I'm just quoting in top people. Very few people, women. Kathrin Kind. These are the very few names out there. Why still? Women. Still we see very few names out there. Why? Any observation you would like to share? Not in India, globally. Career you had, the legacy you have built over the years. So many, prestigious awards you have received, but very few people reach there at top, especially women, I'm saying. So why? What's your thought process? If you'd like to share anything.
Yeah, I like to share it without being controversial. There's also a controversial aspect to it.
Right.
But I just would talk about my observation, my own experience. And it's a lot about nature versus nurture.
Right.
And I even did an excellent panel at the Databricks in Zurich about allyship. Even today, there is a lot of, let's say, mentality that women shouldn't be in tech. When I first started raising my daughter before she went to kindergarten, she would love cars. She wanted to be a programmer like me. She would be playing with my laptop. She loved technology. She says, "Mom, buy me a robot. We will be playing with my robots." And then on her second week, my daughter's 10 years old. And so I'm talking about just 6 years ago. She would come crying at home because young boys, her same age, 4, 5-year-old boys, will be bullying her for liking cars. So who are the people telling those boys, bully a girl because she likes cars? And also just ridiculizing her because she's playing with robots instead of with dolls. Because she likes computers and she doesn't want to play better cook in home, in house with the other girls. It's just 6 years ago. And that was in Germany. So what is going on? Why are those boys, let's say, teasing her? So that is one of the situations that I see, that there is the cultural aspect, cultural acceptance, and a lot of, let's say, what I call the female brief. That, okay, as a woman, you can see my daughter, she just came back from school in the background. As a mother, you have to be there to cook, to clean, to nurture your children, to be a good wife, a good sister. My husband's there in the background. So, and I can only do it because my family also gives me that support network. maybe not all my relatives.
Right.
I have to from my social, let's say, and even from women in my social area in Germany, sometimes a bit not because they wanted to give them the guilt, but hey, your daughter is on daycare from 7 in the morning to 5 p.m. Shouldn't we just be working half day? And I said no, because if I work half day, I'm not going to be able to do everything I have to do. And the good things, I have my husband that's supporting me.
Right.
So one of the reasons I think is that because we women get all that burden, you should be the perfect mom, the perfect wife,
Right.
and everything, and that is a lot of energy. It pulls out of the focus of the career and energy that women could push there. So I would move on and still, I would get criticized. Someone says, "Oh, well, you're a crown mother," we say in Germany. Rabenmutter.
Right.
If you're not 24/7 for your child and sacrifice your career for them. And I said, I'd rather have my daughter be happy because she sees her mom is happy, than to have me there with her, and then she sees that I'm off, because I'd rather be in a meeting. And what I do is that I trade off quality time.
Right.
Instead of quantity time. And she's super smart, super mature, and says, "Mom, I think it's great what you do." Yeah, and it's having that acceptance. I think that I'm very, very lucky that my husband and my daughter are super acceptance of it. But a lot of women don't have this. They have a lot of the social and familiar pressure to be part of that. Right. Let's say social, ideals that have been culturally and given to us, and also religiously. And I'm still very much from my faith, and I keep it on my faith, and I'm aware of my role as a woman, and I'm changing this. But I have to sometimes do some trade-offs. Right. I do feel guilty. I wish I could give my daughter more time or spend more time with my family. But I still say, well, I'm going to give you this focus, this time, quality time, and please support me on being able to do all these wonderful projects. So I think I'm very lucky in that sense. But a lot of women are not. And also on the companies, it still happened to me in Germany that the moment I got pregnant, they say, well, how are you going to be a manager now? You got a baby.
In Germany also this
Even
kind of...
In Germany, yes. People ask.
Because India, definitely, these things are definitely there.
I know, no, but in Germany, they would say to me, I think you should be thinking already about the successor now.
Right.
The moment I got pregnant. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's going to be difficult, okay. I agree, because there is the biological needs that mommy needs to be with the baby on the first year. Right. So I said, well, I'm not going to be there for around 6 months, but afterwards I want to go back to work. And everybody's like, why are you doing that? You should be with your baby. So it is still, like I said, a lot of societal rules, even in some of the areas, in some of them, let's say, cultural aspects on the workforce that still need to change. And diversity is something new. Diversity is just something that, let's say, started to be, or I've seen it really going for consumer companies since like 5 years ago. So right. And it's one thing that when I see support for females to managers, and also women that want to go there on the mentorship, on daycare, on understanding that it is okay to have both. It's still something very new.
Right.
So it came as a shock to me. This is a bit the only controversial thing I'm going to say, that when I saw that some American software companies that have a leadership role, they canceled the diversity programs in the USA. I was shocked when I heard that, because they are so important. Yeah, I mean, I understand, that there's a traditional model of the family, but there's also, the new technology. And I saw it as one thing in India. I think I would be really interested to see, because I saw a lot of female software engineers, a lot of female managers, even though there's, of course, that pressure also in India. But I think India is doing something great in that sense, that there is the acceptance. Women can be leaders. Women can be in technical roles, right. Even though they're still tight-knit with their family. And I think it's a really good example that society can work, even with this diversity. But I think my observation there, and I supported a lot of this when I was a manager in India. Exactly that you got your children, you have to pick them up. That's okay. So do your work, and finish it. So we're not measuring you for you come at 8 o'clock and you leave at 4. We're measuring for the good work you finished according to the agreed timeline. And you reach the milestone. If you do it after you cook for your family at 2 p.m., that's fine. If you say, okay, I'm going to be taking care of my baby in the mornings, and then I'll finish the software after lunch. That's okay. We finished quality, and we're, let's say, within the milestones. That's fine with me. And that's one let's say model that I think is very successful on being, let's say, adaptable to the new way and new work that we have.